Everybody, welcome to the Hogville.net Arkansas Razorback Report with Otis Kirk. I'm Jason Patterson. We got Limbo Parks that's going to be jumping on with us here in a few minutes. Now, go grab some coffee. We got a really good lineup for you today. It's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, and enjoy your day. Just like that scroll says, make sure to also like and subscribe to the Hogville.net YouTube channel. All the action that you guys want is on that channel. And whenever you do subscribe and like, you'll also get notifications when any of us go live with either Otis, Dudley, or Kevin. And you do not want to miss it. And just to give you a little bit of a preview, we have had a 50% jump in subscribers over the last year. So we have great content you don't want to miss out. So make sure to like and subscribe. So let's bring him on. The man, the myth, the legend, Otis Kirk. Otis, how you doing, my guy?
Hey, man. Doing good. Can't
Oh,
complain.
how's the recruiting trail been here lately?
The recruiting show, you talking about Pig Trail Nation?
Oh, no, just the recruiting trail in general
Oh,
with
the recruiting
Arkansas.
trail. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
thought it was the recruiting show.
No, you're good.
The recruiting trail, well, it's slowed down naturally. They've only got 3 scholarships remaining. I look for one of those to go to a punter. So really, you're looking at 2. Biggest pickups were Danny Saley. I mean, in more ways than one, that was a big pickup. Obviously, 6'2", 360. 6'3", 6'2", whatever, 350, 360. And the kid lost a little weight at BYU when he went up there from Hutcherson. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised. I saw him in person. He's not fat. People get this mistaken that he's out of shape. And I'm not. To be his height, he's not fat. I mean, I don't know. He may be 330 now, Jason. I don't know. I mean, I didn't see him on the scales. I did see him in person. He's a mountain. I'll tell you that. But he's what they're supposed to look like. You put him in the middle, and he's going to be hard to move. If it came down to me wrestling him or a bear, and this old man get killed either way, but I choose the bear. I
better choose the damn bear, huh?
Yeah, I choose the bear, and I'm gonna get killed either way. But I'm gonna choose a little bit slower death with that bear. That guy's. I mean, I don't know how you can move him. I mean, I really don't. It'll take Fernando Carmona or somebody or Bo Limmer. I know Bo's not back, but somebody like that, as strong as a mule to do it. No, he's a good pickup. I mean, defensive tackles are going outrageous on the market. I mean,
yeah.
I look for Javier Suggs, who's eliminated Arkansas, but I still think he's the best player in the portal. And, he got 40 offers in like a week to 10 days. God, I never heard of that. I look for him to get over $1 million NIL. I mean, that's what they're going for. In the open market, we know in college football now, free agency without a cap limit. I look for Suggs to get a lot of money. And he look, if you're going to buy players, that's the one to buy. I mean, I'm not saying buy players illegal, but I'm just saying if you've got the money to invest in a player, Suggs is the one to invest in. But Saley, I had a college coach tell me that Suggs is 1 as far as defensive tackles in the portal.
Yeah.
Saley was 1A. So Arkansas got a good player there. And so I mean, they needed it. He's the only defensive tackle in this class. It's not like they've got other options. They almost had to land him, and they got it before he got out of town. And that's how they've gotten their players. Miguel Mitchell left town, then signed with the Hogs. Of the portal guys, really honestly, I don't know of anybody else that left town and then signed. Now Caffrey, the receiver, that was a different situation. There was a story there that's never been told. There's a reason he waited, but he committed to me long before he left town. So that is a little bit different story. But other than that, the ones that left, they didn't get. And that goes back to the midterm deal too. The portal kids they got are the ones that signed while they were here. If they left, they got outbid. It's just the way it works. And I had 2 or 3 of those, especially in the early portal opening, they committed to me, gave me commitments on why they were choosing Arkansas, committed, signed, I mean, everything, and couldn't wait to get here. And they left here and got a bigger offer, and they didn't come. So
you can extrapolate that to basketball and baseball too.
Yeah, well. It's you. Most of the kids Calipari has gotten are the ones that pretty much he knew he was getting when they were here. Yeah, and they may have not announced it. Well, kind of like Caffrey Brown. They didn't announce it while they were here, but it was a done deal while they were here. I mean, completely a done deal. The ones that left here, even committed, but they took other visits. No, they didn't get them. But getting Danny Saley was huge. You know, I mean, the last week or 10 days, whatever it's been good to Arkansas. I mean, you get Danny Saley and you get Monte Harrison for free. I mean, you know, so you're getting 2 players there. And, you know, I mean, I've seen people try to make a negative out of Monte Harrison. I don't know what the negative is. You're getting a player that Major League Baseball is paying for. It's not costing you a scholarship. It's not costing you any money. How is that a bad thing? I don't know, man. Some people are just, as I just told another person, some people are just mad right now, and they want to be mad, and they're going to be mad. They don't understand what they're talking about, but it doesn't stop them from running their mouth. That's just like one podcast said that Danny Saley couldn't be successful at Arkansas because he didn't have any stats at BYU. Hell, he didn't play any games at BYU. How would he have any stats?
Yep.
I mean,
and, you know, I want to touch on Danny Saley for a second too.
Huh?
I want to touch on Danny Saley for a second too. He's from Topeka, Kansas. He went to Hutcherson, and then you can't really say that he's from BYU. He enrolled at BYU.
We spent a semester there. He spent a semester there.
Yep, spent a semester, didn't play down. He had committed to OU, decommitted to OU, and at one point had 24 offers. And I'm not talking; these aren't chump offers either. I mean, these aren't like power or group of 5s or D2s. No. I mean, we're talking Maryland, Miami, Texas Tech, Arkansas, and you don't see an offer from Eli Drinkowitz. You don't see something from Kansas. You don't see something from Kansas State. And the guy's from Kansas. He's a space eater. And that's what I don't understand is that a guy like him that's so coveted in the portal doesn't garner an offer from any of those 3 schools, but Arkansas is chomping at the bit to get him.
Well, Arkansas had a need there. Maybe those, and I don't know about those schools, why they didn't, but maybe they didn't have a need at defensive tackle. You know, some schools filled that in the early period or had players returning. Arkansas didn't feel that need early, so it was a big need. Yeah, I mean, like I said, Suggs, I had somebody, and this is not Arkansas. This is not Arkansas. Somebody tell me, a coach who recruits, told me that Suggs was one for his defensive tackles, and Saley was 1A. I mean, and that's about as good a compliment as you can get, because I think Suggs is a full-blown stud. And I mean, people say, oh, you just say that because they're coming to Arkansas. Suggs is not coming to Arkansas. I tell you what I see when I look at film and what I see these play. If I've happened to see them in person, which I haven't seen these kids in person, but I have playing, seen them in person, but not playing. But but both of them. But like I said, it's getting towards the end of this portal stuff. Getting close to summer. They needed Saley. I mean, they had to get him. I mean, that was just huge. It was not a need; it was a must get, and they pulled it off. Deke does a good job recruiting. I know people say, "Well, you got anybody there?" Well, like I said, there's a lot of goes into these highly sought defensive tackles out of the portal. They're getting some money thrown at them, some big bucks. We're not talking about Cokes and barbecue sandwiches or chips. We're talking about big money. So there's more goes to it than that. But Deke Adams is a good coach, good recruiter. Saley told me something interesting. He looked at the portal, and those guys weren't jumping in the portal from there, from that position. Now Torian Carter did, but Torian spent quite a while here, so he wanted to go to Colorado, so be it, but whatever. Deke kept Landon Jackson. He didn't go to the NFL. He could have. He would have been drafted. Certainly would have been drafted. He got some good young play. Nico, kid, Quincy Rhodes,
Junkai.
Anton, he got from the portal. I mean, and to go with Landon. They didn't really need an edge. They signed 2, Kavion Henderson, Charlie Collins out of high school. It's unlike they didn't get the defensive tackle. They had very unfortunate deal we know about Mississippi with the defensive tackle out of Alabama. Out of Memphis that got killed on the 4-wheelers. He would have been a defensive tackle in this class, and
Yeah.
That's as sad and unfortunate as you can get. But it happened, and so he's not, but it's unfortunate, but bad. Just more than football. Football really not even involved there. I don't know how a parent handles that, man. That's got to be the toughest situation. I couldn't believe it. And I just know the kid from interviewing him and him calling me and talking to me and me calling him and just that. I didn't know him beyond that. And it killed me, man. That happened. And I can just imagine what the parents went through.
And keep Deion Stutz' mom in your thoughts and prayers, as today is Mother's Day. And I want to say again,
thank you. Happy
Mother's Day.
Man.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day to everyone.
Day for her. Every day's rough, I know, but today's got to be honest with you, it's got to suck, man. It's just I don't know how you do it. My mother's dead, but she's been dead long enough that I look at it as it's life. It happens. They're not going to be here forever, but you kind of assume your kids will be. That's why I say it's got to be hell, because your mother is not going to be here forever, no matter who you are. It's just not. You expect her and your dad to die before you do. Doesn't always happen that way, but that's what you expect. But your kid, her thought, she's definitely in my thoughts and prayers, because Mrs. Stutz, because it's just, that's got to be. I can't even. I've never lost a son. I can't even begin to say I know how she feels. I'm not going to say that, but it's got to be. It's got to be hell, man. It's got to be, and it's just something we don't count on happening, and pray that it doesn't happen. And it doesn't happen much as far as kids, like but I guess it happens quite a bit, but not the football recruits that we know about. I'm sure people lose kids in car wrecks and stuff and shootings. And in fact, I dated a woman and her son got shot in I guess kind of a gang deal. And it's unfortunate, man. But, and I'm sure she's struggling today too, but just years ago. But it's just, like I said, you your mom, you miss her, but she's probably going to go before you do. So you kind of live with that. You really don't have a choice. But kids, sorry, I didn't mean to get that ramble on that, but it's just, there's no words. It's just no words, man. God knows how she feels, because I don't. I know it's not good.
And the Razorback family has really poured a lot into the Stutz family as well, to make sure that they're uplifted and supported too, through all the times that they've had so far after Deion's passing. And so it's great to hear some of those stories on how they've been able to help uplift that Stutz family. So
he was going to go on the TV segment with me too, man. Right after that, and on KNWA, and man, it just you plan to have a kid on, and then 2 days later he's dead. That doesn't happen very often. It knocked me for a loop. So
Yep. Well, I want to turn this a little bit around here. Let's talk about the wide receiver room for a few minutes, because we got a guy on that's honestly is the best looking coach at Lee Summit West. And I know he is. And I know he's gonna have a big chuckle about that too. But you got Monte Harrison that you were talking about that Arkansas has as a walk-on. I don't know if Sam might hold a scholarship out for him going into fall if something like that materializes. If it's just not something that Arkansas can, a player that Arkansas can pull, he may keep one of those in his pocket. Something may happen, where a kid might not be able to come in. I don't know. We'll have to see where that goes. But you've got Monte.
Baseball's paying it, so the kid is in good shape either way. And that's what happens when you have leverage. And he had leverage. Here's the deal with Monte Harrison. When he came out of high school, he had signed with Nebraska. He was a great baseball player. Milwaukee wanted him. So he had all the leverage. Not only did he have the leverage, he could go to Nebraska and play football. He could go to Nebraska and play football and baseball, or he could go somewhere else and play baseball. He didn't have to sign with with Milwaukee. I'm sorry. So he had all the leverage. So it got written into his contract when he left pro baseball. For whatever reason, it didn't work out. They were going to pay for it, and that's what happens when you get a high draft pick in baseball. Look, people have told me this never happens. It couldn't happen because it wasn't league. Look, Robbie Hampton came back from pro baseball and played at Arkansas. Vincent Bradford came back from pro baseball and played at Arkansas. Devon McClure came back from pro baseball and played at Arkansas. This is not NIL. This is not a new rule. You could be a professional in one sport and come back and play a different. You're still an amateur in the other sport.
Brandon Whedon and Chris Winkie did the same thing.
Yeah, you have nothing to do with NIL. This is not a new rule. People get mistaken on that. I've heard people over and over talking about being a new rule or how is this NIL related. It's not. The kid had leverage. Look, when you have leverage in this world, you call the shots, and he called the shots, and Milwaukee had to ante up. And I know Limbo knows more about this than I do, but I'm just saying, when you've got leverage, it don't matter. You don't have to be talking professional baseball. When you've got leverage, you're in control of the situation, whether it's anybody. Leverage is, and you got to use it when you have it, because if you don't, you're not going to get what you want. And he had leverage. He got this written down. Arkansas is getting a former 4-star. And another thing that drives me crazy is people saying he's old. He's 28 years old. This kid, he is probably rusty from not playing football all those years, but he is not old. He's 28 years old. People, that's the prime. Why do you think NFL teams love 28-year-olds? That's their prime, man. Part of their prime is that 28-year-old person. I mean, geez. He's not. He may be old by college football standards, but he ain't old. Believe me. I mean, if Limbo was 28 or I was 28, we'd be a hell of a lot better shape right now. So this kid's not old. That drives me crazy. But for college football, maybe so. But I'm gonna tell you, the offensive lineman from Syracuse that signed here, I think he's starting his 6th or 7th year of college football between COVID, and he's not the only one. Between COVID and medical hardships and stuff, some of these kids around the country have been in college for 6, 7, 8 years now. So I mean, yeah, it's old by college football standards, but Monte Harrison is not old, people. I mean, he's 28 years old. He's in the prime. He may be rusty from not playing football, but that's where it begins and ends. But you can get rid of that rustiness. Give him all summer. Give him this fall training camp, preseason, and it's not like he has to be Jerry Rice the first game of the season. It's not like he has to be Jerry Rice the first game of the season. They've got receivers, and he can say them, and Coach Fauci will work him in as they feel he progresses, and he's got time, man. If he comes down, he's Jerry Rice's first game, great deal. But I'm not saying he won't be, but he doesn't have to be, is my point. People get mistaken on that. Everybody you sign doesn't have to come in and be Tom Brady, Jerry Rice, or Emmitt Smith the first game of the season. Or Patrick Mahomes. They just don't have to be, man.
Limbo, how you doing, my guy?
I'm doing fine. How y'all doing?
Doing excellent. And thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Man, and happy Mother's Day to my mother, Lula Parks. Okay, I better get that.
Happy Mother's Day to Lula today as well. Man, let's talk about Monte for just a second. What type of player not only are the Razorbacks getting, but the wide receiver room? What and Ronnie Fauci and Bobby Petrino, what type of player are they getting upstairs? Not physically yet, but upstairs.
Oh, you're getting a mature man. He's not coming in. Hate to tell you, Otis, he's going to be in the starting lineup on day one.
Yeah. He may be, but he doesn't have to be, was my point. I mean, people saying this and that. He doesn't have to be. If he is, that's great. And not saying he won't be. He just doesn't have to be. But if he is,
he's not coming down here to sit the bench.
Oh no, no.
I'm going to tell you that. Monte
no
Harrison,
28-year-old player does that. They come back. They intend to make an impact because they've had, he's played baseball, and when they're 28, they come back. They come back for a reason. Yeah, exactly.
Well, he may not be in football shape or getting hit, but when you stay in shape like he has, you don't have to get in shape.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's in shape right now. I mean, he's at 28. What he did at 18, he's doing it better and faster and stronger now than he did then.
Well,
and he was a freak back then.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Limbo. When you're 28 years old, it doesn't take you as long to get in football shape or in shape as it does 48, or 68, Yeah, when you're 28 years old and he's been playing sports. So it's not like he comes in, he's been sitting on the couch eating Cheetos for 10 years. He's been playing sports. He's been playing baseball. So, it's just, like I said, when I talk about rustiness, I don't even really talk about him being out of shape. It's just adjusting to a different sport, getting hit,
that's
playing a different sport.
That's why he's going down the 24th. He'll be down there the 24th. He'll be ready to go. I saw him up there at the football field. He's been at the football field for months, running routes and catching balls and everything like that. The young man is, I think he's what they need at Arkansas right now. The mental toughness. The kid is mentally tough. And I cannot tell you the way he prepares. He doesn't know what losing is. Now, in baseball, let's look at it like this. Michael Jordan couldn't hit a curveball either. Okay? And we consider him one of the greatest athletes of all time, right?
Right.
Yep.
And so, but he had all the other attributes: the arm, the speed, the defense, and all that. It was, you could see it in the outfield. You could see it when someone's trying to run from second to third, how he'll shoot them out. Everything. Monte could have played. I'll say this: there's 10 players in the NFL that they call the perfect 10, right? The Heisman Trophy and the enshrined to the Hall of Fame, right? It's 10 of them. Well, in my high school career, there's only been 3 athletes that's been first team All-State or state champion in 3 different sports. One of them was Cody Newman at Ray Peck. The other one was Evan Bain in football, wrestling, and track. Monte Harrison, football, basketball, baseball, and he could have went out and did the triple jump and probably won it in track.
No doubt.
Those are only 3 people in 25 years that I know of. And those are athletes. Okay. Yeah. They're not one person, doing one sport. They're athletes. They don't concentrate on just one thing. They can do it all. And that's what I'm saying about Monte. Doesn't matter. He's going to be out there. I mean, the cat is like Richard. The cat is different.
And Arkansas needs that. You're talking about he doesn't know how to lose or doesn't know what losing is, whatever you said. But Arkansas needs that because, there's been some times that you feel like losing doesn't piss them off enough over there. Some of the players I'm talking about, losing just doesn't piss them off enough. And it's got to stink, man.
It's
got to stink when you lose, man. You got to say this is unacceptable. And it's okay to say it's unacceptable, but then you've got to go. You have to change things to make sure it does. Because if you just talk it doesn't change. But if you build, and I think being 28, one thing about him too, they're going to listen to him. He's going to have when he talks, people are going to listen. He's done what everybody over there wants to do: play professional sports. All those kids think they're going to be NFL players. They all do. They all think that, and they should. It'd be sad if they didn't, or at least 99% of them think that. But this kid has been a pro athlete. Yeah, it's a different sport, but he made it. 2nd round draft pick, I believe. Big
pick overall.
Yeah, big player, big time player. So, they're going to listen.
I'll be the first to tell you. Coaches, at least some in West, we all know, if he would have stuck with football, He'd been in the NFL right now. There's no questions about it.
You remind me of that is Basil Shabazz. He went to pro baseball, and he was a great running back at Pine Bluff, but he couldn't hit a curveball. He got on base. He really couldn't hit that well. When he played baseball, he bunted to get on base because, God, he had elite speed. But he could have played pro football if he'd just gone to a junior college and then went somewhere where he could get in academically 1 year and then went to the NFL instead of messing with pro baseball. Because I think he got, I want to say he got $50,000 or $100,000. Hell, that's probably gone in a month. You know what? And I'm not taking a shot. It's a story of a bunch of kids, but that was nothing. I mean, it was big money back then, but it was nothing compared to what if Basil Shabazz had chosen football. Even if he couldn't get in academically, okay, go to junior college for 2 years. Then maybe, then go to a school you can get into for 1 year, then get in that NFL draft. He would have been a stud at pro football because he was a great football player. He was the only thing good at baseball. He was great defensively because he could run out there. He could cover. I mean, he could chase down any ball, kind of like you're talking about Monte. And but he couldn't hit. Only way every time I ever saw him get on base, he bunted and he simply just ran fast. He was elite.
And I'm going to say this about Monte, and it bothered me when he was in the MLB. They kept going up, down, up, down. He needed to stay up and play. That's the only way he's going to get better and learn. And they kept shipping him down and that's just not good, because he was an elite athlete, and you see it in the films and everything. And like I said, he's the ultimate competitor. I mean, he will compete. The kid. Well, I can't call him a kid. The man now.
I call them all kids, man.
I know it's hard to stop.
It is.
I call all players kids. I mean, Barry Loney Jr. I still call him a kid, and we all know how. Well, I don't know how old Barry is, but he's certainly not a kid.
He's older than I am. Hell,
I called one of his players a kid, and I said, "Hell, Barry, I called everybody a kid. I still call you a kid. You spoke at our banquet in Mena back 100 years ago when I was down there, sports editor, paper down there. I said, I still call you a kid. Don't get offended. I don't mean anything bad about that." Player. It's a habit for me, and
it's a habit for me too.
Yeah, and I do it, and I never mean any disrespect for that. In fact, I've called Monte a kid. And and it's not because they're younger. It's just something I do. But I want to take one quick second away from this and throw out a plug for my buddy Grayson Wilson. Limbo was talking about a 3-sport all-state kid. Grayson Wilson is 3-sport all-state here in Arkansas. Quarterback, football, pitcher, outfielder, baseball, and won the state basketball championship. I saw him play, I believe, power forward or whatever. But he's a 3-sport all-state guy too. And I'm going to tell you about Grayson Wilson because he won't tell you. People say, "Oh, they beat Illinois." That kid's got a ton of offers, but he's committed to Arkansas, and he is not putting that out there because he doesn't. It's not interesting. He don't care about offers. He wanted to offer. He got the offer he wanted. He took it, and he's coming to Arkansas. And he just pitched a gem in baseball in the state tournament and had to go to the doctor afterward because of strep throat. He couldn't even talk, couldn't swallow. And this kid is incredible. And I just want to throw that out there because 3-sport all-state kids are rare. But Arkansas has got another one in Grayson Wilson, and he's a good kid. Like I said, he's getting offers right and left, and he even putting them on X. He don't care about that stuff because he cared about one. Well, he put him on there, Illinois, UCF before he committed. But once he got that offer to Arkansas and committed, nothing else is going on there about offers. He's finished with that stuff, and that's when you got character in addition to talent.
What you just said about X or Twitter or whatever you call it, all these naysayers out there talking about Monte and I usually don't get into with people on Twitter, but this is the first time I've ever just got really upset what they were saying about Monte because they don't know him. Right. Well, all their comments doesn't mean nothing to him because he's not even on social media. He care less. You can't find him on social media.
Well, but, everybody's mad right now, and they want to be mad. It's just like I write an article. They come at me about, they'll use recruiting rankings. First place, I know how recruiting rankings of these kids are done. I've worked at all these I haven't worked at On3, but I've worked at Rivals, Scout, 24/7. And if you knew how some of those kids were ranked, you wouldn't be so damn dependent on them. They would call me and ask me, what do you think this kid should be? And I give them, and that's what he'd be. They wasn't like they saw these guys. Oh, yeah, they see these big time players play. They don't see every kid. It's impossible to see every kid. So take your recruiting rankings, believe in them, love it, whatever you want to do, but don't come at me because when I talk about the transfer portal, I don't even know, don't care where Arkansas's class is ranked. But let me tell you, and I put Monte and I put the junior college kid in there too, the running back. I put them in that group when I talk about the transfer portal. I'm talking about the kids, not the high school kids. Everybody else I put in there. Tyrell Reed, Monte, all of them. I'm going to tell you, they have gotten probably 10 to 12 starters out of this class from the transfer portal. And I'm not counting the kicker. But I'm talking about they had 8 starters at the end of spring from the transfer portal, early signings, start. And that's not counting the kicker. They had 8. That would make 9. And then if you get Monte, you get Stephen Dix Jr., and let's say by chance Danny Saley starts. I mean, they can be up to 12 starters out of this class. So don't tell me about recruiting rankings. I don't care if they're ranked first or if they're ranked 101st. I don't care. I went over and watched spring ball. I've watched these kids. I've studied film. I'm going to write what I believe. I'm not hyping it for the University of Arkansas.
Nope.
I don't owe the University of Arkansas anything. Only thing I owe them is the same thing I owe you, the subscribers, the readers, the people I work for. Be fair and give an honest opinion. I'm not doing this clickbait crap. But I'll try to be fair to the University of Arkansas, the fans, the readers, the athletes, and everybody else. But that's all I'm trying to be. I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything, but I'm going by what I see, and that's just the way I am.
Well,
I'm at the point in my career, I don't have to please
Otis, when you say that, I'm the perfect example of that. Because when I went to JUCO and I came here and I saw some guys in my class that they took over me. I was like, wow. Okay then. So yeah, that doesn't mean anything. All that ranking and all that stuff. I mean, I have a problem with that. I really do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I mean, it's easy to rank Darren McFadden. A blind man could go watch Darren McFadden play. It's easy. I saw him play, and I saw him play for about 5 minutes, and I said, if this kid's not a 5-star, there's not a 5-star out there. I saw Darren in the 9th grade on up through his high school year. I think I saw him play 6 times his senior year. We joked, Darren and I joked that I was his press agent, I mean, I saw him play because I love seeing that kid play. And the thing about Darren McFadden, he could have been just a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, linebacker, safety, corner. He could have played any of those. Hell, he could have been a quarterback. He worked on it. And I mean,
I got 3 of those kids like that where you said it. One of them is Chase Kaufman. Yeah. Okay. They played in Missouri. Evan Bain. Okay, and Monte Harrison, where you just look at them and say, "Oh, they're special."
Yeah.
You just know.
It takes you about 5 minutes. I went to a junior college game, Limbo, one time. Went to see some kid play. I don't remember who I went to see. It was at NEO, Miami, Oklahoma.
Oh no, not
there was a kid out there named. There was they might have been playing Coffeyville that night. I don't know who they were, but anyway, there was a kid that I saw, and it wasn't the one I went to see. And I don't want a game program, because I don't even know if they still sell those, but they did back then. But I don't want one. I just want to know what number I'm there to see. But I saw this kid catching everything. I mean, catching everything, blocking, knocking people's butt off. And it's a kid named Jeremy Shockey. But he wasn't as big though as he eventually did. But
I knew where you're going with that, Otis.
As soon as the game ended, I didn't go to the kid I went to see. I beeline to Jeremy Shockey. I said, "Who in the hell are you, man?" And he told me I'm Jeremy Shockey. He didn't get no offers. And he didn't get any offers. And he was at NEO. He was eligible to transfer out, and nobody signed him at midterm. Miami eventually lost some kids, decommits, to sign elsewhere they thought they were going to get. They went back and signed Jeremy later. The rest is history. And I saw that kid play, and I'm just telling you, man. I mean, it took me about 5 or 10 minutes to see Jeremy Shockey. And I don't know. And yeah, he was skinny back then compared to what he eventually been. But all you had to do, if you were a coach, and I had one college coach tell me he was too small, he was too small to play tight end. I said, put his butt at wide receiver then. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, he was about 6'4", 210, 215, 6'3", whatever he is. But he was not too small. But you've got to look past everything and project. And that kid, but his hands, he looked like James Shebest, Fred Biletnikoff, Steve Largent, whoever you think has got fly trap hands. That's who he looked like, because he caught balls he had no business catching, because they didn't have the best quarterback. He was starting the ball. If that ball was in the vicinity of Jeremy Shockey, he caught it, and I raved about him. And so yeah, I mean, and I had no idea who Jeremy Shockey was when I got there, but I knew 5 minutes into the game he was a stud, whoever he was. And then after the game, I found out who he was. But yeah, I mean, you can tell. My point was, it's easy to rate those kids. It's easy, even though somehow people missed on Jeremy Shock. But it's easy to rate those kids if you see them play in person. But nobody sees 3,000 kids and ranks them according to what they see. It's impossible. You couldn't see 3,000 kids or 4,000, 2,000 if you tried. Even if you got a big staff, you don't see everybody play, and they just put a number on there to appease the fans to subscribe to get the money. I mean, that's how that works. And and I know, because I've worked there, people, and I'm not knocking it or putting it down, but just it's something to go by. It's a guide, but don't let that be your Bible, man. Don't let that be your Bible. Limbo, no. I remember Arkansas signed a big time center from Texas. They brought in Mark Henry too at the same time. Guess who was the best? The 5-star out of Texas or Mark Henry? Mark Henry was a better player. I mean, it's just you
Mm-hmm.
Recruiting rankings are fine, but don't use them as the Bible, because they're not.
They're not. No.
It is what it is, people. And I'm just telling you, man, you've got,
I always say, don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype.
Yeah.
Limbo, I got a question for you, man. So you got Eli Drinkwitz dipping into Arkansas, taking some of the top talent in the state.
Yeah, he's not.
You've got a lot of talent in Kansas City in that vicinity, and we've kind of talked about this a little bit. But what does Arkansas need to do, or what to get into those areas in Kansas City and start plucking some of these guys that Missouri might try to basically think they have from the get-go? Missouri's
locked down the state. They've locked it down. They're not getting. I mean, Missouri's doing a great job. And Big Alfred Davis is up there doing a great job coming down here taking these kids. I said earlier this week, when I played, we won 10 games. We had starters like myself from Missouri, Tony Cherico from the Kansas City, Kansas area, Kevin Wyde. Okay, you go over Missouri side, you got Steve Atwater, Lutheran North. Somebody said something comfortable, but he played at Lutheran North. He's from St. Louis. That's where they recruited him from.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Bobby Joe Edmonds, St. Louis. All these guys are right up the road here, 3 hours away, 4 hours, 5, 6 from St. Louis. And then you look at Gary Anderson from Columbia. I mean, you need to come up there and compete and get kids. I mean, we play good football up in Missouri too.
Brian Wallace Sam Pittman got Brian Wallace when he was here as assistant coach, from St. Louis, and got Brian Wallace and Armand Watts they got. I mean, turned out, I think Armand may still be in the NFL. Is he with the Vikings? I believe still, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I know Armand went to the NFL, and I want to say he's still there. I know, pretty sure he was last year. I mean, I don't keep up with the Vikings, but my point is what Limbo said, Armand Watts from St. Louis, same school as Brian. There's been some good players from up there, and
Armand signed with the Patriots in the offseason.
Okay. I knew he's still in the NFL, but I mean, he was a guy really. Brian was all the hoopla when they signed him, and Armand was kind of an afterthought. And as it turns out, many times Armand was the guy that went to the NFL and stuck, But
Arkansas could go up there and pluck, but now they can't. They've lost the inroads that they had a few years ago.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Missouri's got a deal where the kids can get NIL in high school but they've got to go to Missouri to get it or something. Is that right? See, that's why
states gives them.
Yeah, see that the kids up there, and there's a Ryan Wingo every once in a while.
But it doesn't. But that's just recently.
Yeah.
We're not talking about.
Well, right.
within the
No, I
last
know.
10
Well, I
years.
know. And I've
haven't
never
been there.
understood the deal with Kansas City because, I mean, we went up there to see John James and I went up there to see the tight end from over Kansas side, just across the state line there. But we got to Kansas City in 3 hours or so. I mean, I drive fast and I drove fast. I think
that's a little slow. I think I get this.
Well, I got there quicker than that,
2:45
but Lanny's going to hear it, so I'm going to say 3 hours. But you can ask John; it wasn't 3 hours. But for Lanny,
I can attest it wouldn't be 3 hours either.
Lanny messaged me and said, "Do not get a speeding ticket." So I'm saying 3 hours for Lanny Beaver's purpose. So, but John James knows how long it took. But we were sitting eating in Kansas City. We were probably finished eating by 3 hours. But driving, eating, and we're waiting on our food during lunch hour and everything. But anyway, my point was that's as easy to drive as Little Rock is.
Yeah, it wasn't as easy when I was at Arkansas.
Well, I mean, they've upgraded.
It was 4
I remember
or 5 hours in.
Yeah, 71 used to be terrible coming south too, out of Fayetteville. You know, you go to Fort Smith, you had to go down that 71 deal. I mean, now they've got that interstate from Fort Smith, but it's a lot easier now.
It's
both
a lot easier
north and south, not just that area. It's a lot easier, but Kansas City's just as easy as Little Rock because you go on the interstate to Little Rock, you come up there to Fayetteville, and Kansas City's just as easy. So yeah, it makes sense if they could get in there and but
so Arkansas is going to have to pull out some money for NIL to get these kids from Missouri, and honestly may have to almost overpay and sell the fact that it's an easy way to get to be able to see their kids each weekend. So I think that Arkansas has
like go drinks. You know, he's bold enough to come put billboards in the state. You know, I thought that was pretty. You know, I mean, he's very creative about with his recruiting. He's very creative. I mean, he's a showman. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and I don't care for the guy, but you know, whatever. That's neither here nor there. But I don't care for him, and I don't care who knows it. I can stand him, but you know, so
hey, he's winning. You know,
he won last year. Before that, he was 500 coach. So he did win last year. We'll see. But hiring Alfred Davis,
that's an Arkansas boy.
Yeah, and he gives middle finger to Arkansas every time he does something down there, like getting Courtney Crutchfield and putting that on X. So I don't, you know, but you know, thing of it is, he did hire Alfred Davis, and you know, I've wondered many times. Arkansas was going through this defensive line coaches before Deke, like every year, and they never hired Alfred Davis, and I didn't understand that because they were going through defensive line coaches that were coming and going faster than me going to the table when there's a table full of food. You know, I mean, I run that table just like they were going. Did you hear a year? Then they'd leave. Be here a year, then they'd leave. And yet they're hiring these people and never hire. And Deke's good hire, but there's been some hires before that. They could have hired Alfred Davis because Alfred and I are friends, you know, and we've talked about it. He won the job.
He wants to come back. He wants to come back bad.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a friend of mine too. I mean, he, you know, technically, you know, he still cut him. He's still little pigs to run out of him. But you know, he's a hog.
Yeah, I hope. I hope that Deke stays as long as he wants to. But if he does leave, which he probably eventually will for whatever reasons, you know, and they all do, you know, systems, you know, then go to the NFL or whatever. I hope Sam looks hard at Alfred then, the next hire on the defensive line. And like I said, I'm not saying replace Deke. I hope Deke stays here as long as he wants to. But when Deke does leave, I hope that Sam looks at Alfred Davis hard.
Because if he's the best and he has inroads with both Arkansas and Missouri, that should be a natural fit for Sam to be able to bring him in. Because at this point, let's face it, Arkansas is getting their ass kicked in recruiting on the Missouri side.
He should.
And so they need to do something to even that out.
He should have some ties to junior college in Kansas too, since he was assistant over there. So he was there at Hutcherson as assistant coach. And, you know, and we talked a lot back then. He would call me and tell me who he had and, you know, to write about and stuff. And so he's got not just Arkansas and Missouri, but Alfred was from Georgia, wasn't he? Limbo,
Louisiana, wasn't he?
Was he? I was thinking Georgia, but whatever. He's got ties to wherever he was from, whether Georgia or Louisiana. I thought it was Georgia, but it may have been Louisiana. But regardless, Alfred's got ties more than just Arkansas and Missouri, with the JUCOs and then where he's from and stuff. So, but there's been so many players I probably got mixed up on it. But I was thinking Georgia for some reason. But regardless, I mean, he's good defensive. He's proven he's a very good defensive line coach. I mean, Arkansas couldn't even move him in that game over here at Razorback.
Yeah, he's a native from Georgia. You're right. He's from Georgia.
College Park, Georgia.
I thought so, but whatever. I mean, like I said, there's been so many kids, but more than that, he's just proven he's worthy of being coaching.
He's a great recruiter.
They couldn't move him, man. They couldn't move that defensive line when they played Missouri here in Razorback Stadium there at the end of the season.
No, they're getting a fight over the whole deal too.
I was at that game.
Yep.
They couldn't move that defensive line at all, man.
Cody Schrader just said, "Hey, watch this, guys."
Well, and I was like, I mean, I hate to say it, but Missouri turned Razorback Stadium into Farouk Field. Yeah. And I never heard them call the Hogs one time that day. Yeah. Not one day. Well, one time. I kept hearing M-I-Z-Z-O-U, and I don't even say that. I hate that. But it was pretty was impressive by Missouri. I'll say that.
Yeah, it was.
So I want to turn it back to Monte for just a second, Limbo, before you get out here. What is the mindset of Bobby Petrino when he sees an athlete like Monte walk into the room, and how do you think Bobby might be able to utilize him best on the field?
Okay. He's going to see what everybody see, and we got to say at least something in West, and we always say this, and he's seen it in film, Monte doing Monte things. Okay? Things that only Monte can do. Okay, that's what he's going to see. That's what he's seen, and that's what he hopes Monte still can do, and I know he still can do. Okay, he's going to make the play. Like when you absolutely, positively have to have it, better throw that ball to Monte.
Taylor Green's best friend.
There's not a better coach to do that, though. I mean, you watch Bobby Petrino. Yeah. He knows who playmakers are. Right before halftime against LSU, Little Rock War Memorial Stadium, gets the ball to Kobe Hamilton, touchdown, when a lot of people were saying just kneel down into Georgia late in the game. You're trailing against Georgia. Finds Greg Childs for a touchdown. Yep. Bobby knows. Bobby will get the ball to playmakers. There's not a better offensive coordinator, play caller in the country than Bobby Petrino at finding playmakers and utilize them, especially when you need it the most. And that right there is one of my reasons for optimism. People think, oh, he's just blowing up because of the Razorback. No, Bobby Petrino replacing the previous guy, man, it's like night and day. They have improved that area so. And look, I'm gonna tell you, when he hired, last year, people talk about the offensive line, but the running backs struggled, wide receivers at times struggled. It wasn't just the offensive line; that whole offense struggled because the play calling was so predictable, and it'll be anything but predictable with Bobby Petrino. And I mean, I'm not taking shots at the previous guy, but I'm just telling you what I saw, and that's what I do. I tell you what I see. And I'm telling you, Bobby Petrino is a huge upgrade, and that's why I've got confidence in this team this year more so than past because of Bobby Petrino. And he's talking about playmakers and stuff and finding the playmaker. I guarantee you, Bobby Petrino will find them. He's always found them. He found them when he was here, and he'll continue to find them. That's one thing that guy does. He knows what a playmaker is, who a playmaker is, and he's not afraid to use him late in the game.
Yeah, well, he got one in Monte Harrison. I mean, like I said, I've never seen. I mean, I always say it was worth the price of admission back in high school. The gym was full just to see what he was going to do, and he did some incredible things. I mean, you call up there and talk to his basketball coach. I mean, he's walking to the gym. He's just a, 2 years ago our football team was struggling, wasn't very good. We had him come talk to the team. He said he's not going to sugarcoat it. He's going to tell you that this is not acceptable for this program. And that's what he told the players. This is not acceptable for this program.
That's what they need over there. I hit on that earlier when you said that. They need that. They need a stern voice to say that because it's not acceptable. And it's not acceptable, man. It's just not. And you've got to listen, the coach can talk till he turns blue in the face. People will tune that out. Not everybody, but they will. But you get a player
we had last year too.
One of your peers, they will listen. John McDonald told me that. He said, I don't have to. He told me, he said, I don't have to say anything. I've got about 3 or 4 players down there, or athletes down here right now, that if we suck at a track meet, it won't happen again because they will go down and they will talk to them and make sure it doesn't happen again. And that's what John McDonald, who's the greatest coach ever coached over there, told me. And it's true. They'll listen to peers.
I'm going to tell you this about Monte in high school. We was in a basketball game, and our basketball coach is very intense, Coach Shebert. Okay? Something was going on. One of the players wasn't doing right. He wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. Shebert calls timeout, starts walking to him. Monte grabs Coach Shebert. I got him. Monte went over and said, if you don't do what he tells you to do, I'm going to make sure you do. So he doesn't play. Do what you're supposed to do. Do what you're coached to do, and do it at a high level. Okay? If not, he's going to take care of it.
They need that, man. They need that as much as anything over there. They need some players to take charge. Grant Morgan, Hayden Henry were good at that, but lately it just seemed like nobody. It's one thing to have leaders. You say they lead by example, but that's fine. Some people that's natural, but you need some vocal leaders, man. You need somebody, a player.
That team missed that last year.
They didn't have, like you said, this generation is all about clicks and stuff. Monte don't give a damn about clicks. Yeah. He cares about W's. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. That's what he cares about.
And all this stuff about, afraid of offending someone. You need somebody to go in there and kick some players' butt, but it needs to be a player, and they need somebody to listen to, and they will listen to a player before they will coach for the most part. I mean, the coach has got to be vocal and got to have a voice. I mean, I'm not saying that, but it needs to come from beyond that and have players too. But when you go out there and you lay an egg on the field, it needs to be more than come to a press conference afterwards saying, well, it won't happen again. And then 2 weeks later, the same exact thing happens again. Well,
that's just your lip. I'm going to tell you something, Otis, on that. When I was at University of Arkansas, I lost. We went 10-2 and 9-3, so 5 games. Okay, 5 games in 2 years that I was there, and what was it, 19-5? Okay,
led by Greg Thomas.
That's right. I felt sick. It wasn't no going out or showing my face or being out. I'm in the room contemplating what happened. Yeah. Why did this happen? What I have to do to be better at this. What we have to do as a team. Because I didn't see that. Because I know I was there after the Missouri game. I know I saw players out doing like it was normal.
Yeah. You didn't see the locker room have somebody get into that ass. And that's what
I didn't see one player last year that I thought was doing that. Not one player did I feel like I said, the year before I felt like, or a couple of years before that, Grant Morgan, Hayden Henry, you could tell they were doing that. Mm-hmm. They were kicking some, but last year I didn't feel like anybody was, maybe they were. I'm not in the locker room, but I've got a pretty good feel for what's going on over there. And last year I just didn't feel like they had a leader that really stepped up and demanded respect and got it. I just didn't see it. And I
don't see how you can not play for a coach like Sam Pittman. Yeah. I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I have a serious problem with that. And as being an old offensive line, I have a serious problem when you can't get a yard on 4th and 1.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times did that happen last year?
Yeah. I think part of that, and only part of it, was due to the predictable play calling. I will never forget. I'm sitting in college at AT&T Stadium at Dallas, Arlington. A&M game, right before halftime, Arkansas calls a timeout. A&M's going to punt. Arkansas was going to punt. I'm sorry. Arkansas was going to punt, and they changed their mind. They called timeout. I told the kid sitting next to me, I said, they're going to go for it, which they shouldn't because they were in their own territory, like close to 40, whatever they were at, 38, 39, 40-yard line. They're going to go for it. KJ's going to be in the shotgun, 1 yard to go. He's going to hand the ball to Rocket. He's going to run to the right, and they're going to get stopped. Bang, that's exactly what happened. I mean, I knew what Enos was going to call, and he called it. And A&M went down and scored, took a lead. And then right at the start of the second half, the defensive back, Snacks, intercepts the pass, runs it in. Arkansas was within 2 or 3 points, whereas if they'd have punted there before the end of the half, touchdown interception would have put them ahead, in the third quarter. But it was so predictable. And that's one reason. I'm not saying that's the only reason they couldn't get a yard, but that's one reason. I just think people knew what was coming most of the time. I mean, when they got that fast start against LSU, dominating that first quarter, but you look at the scoreboard and it's 6-0, 2 field goals because you couldn't get a yard or two down to go, in the red zone.
Well, Otis, you got to remember this. Back when I played, Ken Hatfield was pretty predictable. But you know what? I was able to run behind me. I'm going to get a yard.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a yard. I don't care how you look at it.
And that's where Eric Mateus is going to come in handy.
I'm going to get a yard.
Yeah, I think getting those kids, Cremona and Blackstock and Nichols, has allowed them, especially Blackstock and Cremona, has allowed them to move Kudas inside. That's his position, guard. He's not a tackle. He played tackle. Not bad, but he guards his natural position. They put Kudas at guard now. You got Braun at guard. So you've got people in their natural positions. You got true offensive tackle. I think the offensive line will be better this year. But you've got, I think Carmona may be that guy, Limbo, where, he says, run behind me. Because I'm telling you, he's going against Landon Jackson every scrimmage, every practice. He's going against Landon Jackson. And I'm telling you, they're making each other better, and they're already both really good.
Yeah, and, iron tough is Aaron tough in there. It's what it is.
I think Carmona may be the guy that does that says, hey, you run behind me at left tackle, you will get that yard. You'll get that 2 yard. And I think Jaquindon Jackson is the type back. I asked him after the spring game, I said, if you got first and goal at the 10-yard line, 9-yard line, do you feel like anybody can stop you 4 straight times? No. He said no. And I believe it. I mean, that kid, he doesn't go down. You try to arm tackle him, he'll break your arm. Jaquindon Jackson does not go down on first contact. He's going to make you pay. He's going to punish you for tackling him. And I'm going to tell you, you get here on that red zone, you run behind Carmona with Jaquindon.
Defensive lines were not wore down last year by Arkansas's physicality, and that's one of the reasons why they were able to stand up to him in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and
this year I think it's going to be a different story.
Yeah, I do too. And with Bobby calling the plays, that'll help too. More.
Also, you out there, I guarantee you, he run outside, and you got Monte out there blocking. He likes blocking. Yeah. Okay, he's not. You know what I mean? He loves blocking. Yeah. So you're gonna have people out there. You have places that he's gonna try to bounce you off the turf. If you go back and look at his highlight film, he literally bounced players off the turf.
You've got some guys like him and Andrew Armstrong who are big enough to do that. I mean, Armstrong's a big kid too. There's no reason he can't block out there like that. And you've got Luke will be back after losing him at the A&M game.
It's gonna be big getting him.
Well, yeah, Luke's unbelievable. I mean, he's a freak, and he's one of those Darren McFadden, Jeremy Shockey guys I was talking about. Luke is at tight end. He's one of those guys. He's a no-brainer. It's easy to rate him really high because, that doesn't take an expert to do that. A fool could do that, a blind man.
They got weapons there. They got weapons.
Yeah,
they got them. Shock a lot of people this year.
I think Taylor Green gives them what they like. I think, and I'm a big KJ Jefferson fan, but just going by the drifts I get, the feelings I get, I think the players like Taylor Green better than they like KJ. I remember when Malik Hornsby was here, and I didn't think he was that good a quarterback. And I remember players defended him over KJ, players. And I didn't know why. But now I think the players like Taylor Green more than they did KJ, and I think they'll respond to that. But we'll see. I mean, and that's not a shot. Believe me, I spent the last 4 years defending KJ on Twitter or X, and so and I think I like that kid. I still like him, but I feel like Taylor Green responds to the players better. Some people just like somebody better. It seems like they really like Taylor Green, genuinely like Taylor Green. That helps. I mean, if you like people you're playing with, working with, it makes your job.
I didn't like Greg Thomas, but I worked with him. I'm just kidding.
I know. Greg sucks, man. Greg sucks. Yeah,
man, Bo, you're going to get a call after this.
I didn't like it when he blocked my shot in basketball either, but he put it right back in my face, man. I mean,
I know Greg ain't blocked nobody's shot. He can't.
Well, he did mine. But there again, I'm 5'9", slow dude, so I mean, it didn't take much to block my shot. If I got it off, I made it, but I didn't get it off against him. Now I couldn't shoot. If I got it off, I made it, but he put it back in my face, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's bad, Otis.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see it now. Oh Lord, stop it.
Yeah.
Well, Limbo, man, I want to get you out on that high note right there, my guy, and we're going to get out of here too. And Otis, as always, it's been great. We'll get together here in the next week or two if there's any more news that comes down with anybody that signs. And also, we got camps that are coming up as well. Where are you going to be going to next?
I won't be here next Sunday. I'm leaving Thursday. I'm going on vacation, right. So I'll be in the sky next Thursday. But after that, I've got a couple of places in mind when I get back. Don't really want to say because I don't want to tell everybody else where I'm going to be. But I have a spring game that Friday and a combine that Saturday when I get back. Got to run it by Lanny and get approved. But if he approves it, I have a spring game on the whatever that Friday is, and the a combine of sorts on the Saturday after that, and they're not local. Both are not local. So believe me, I've got some plans for see a football spring game, high school, and then see a combine the next day. So we'll see how that goes. And I got to run it by Lanny. I haven't done it yet, but I will. But I'm pretty sure he'll approve it. I mean, he usually does.
Well, hey, can I say one more thing real quick about Monte?
Yeah, what you got?
He had other SEC teams, Big 12 teams and Big 10 teams that wanted him to come right now, okay? Would you rather have him with us than going against him?
Oh, 100%.
So these people around here need to get behind him and support him.
I want to ask you this really quick also too, Limbo, before we get out of here. What, and I don't know if you've talked to Monte about this, but what in his mind thought, okay, Arkansas is it over the other SEC schools?
He wanted to play in the SEC. Mm-hmm. His family is important to him. He just had a little baby boy, him and his girl, and he wants close to home because he's a really family type guy. Him, his brother plays in the NBA, Shaq Harrison. Okay, so I mean they're very tight family. Mom, Michelle Francis, they're very close, and he wants to be where his family can come see him play. And you know what? He wants to get an education too. So he's not coming down here just to, but Arkansas was a perfect fit for him and for what he wants to do.
South Bay Lakers, Shaq Harrison, G League Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know who Shaq Harrison is.
That's his brother. That's his brother.
That's a South Bay Laker. Yeah, played for the Lakers last year. They signed him late in the year to a NBA contract, and he played in the playoffs with them. But he was the Defensive Player of the Year in G League this year. Yeah, so yeah.
Man, Otis, this is a perfect transition. Then you got Lakers in the family with the.
When I hear Lakers perk up, man,
I know you are a Laker fan. What happened to them this year?
Yeah, they made it. They made the playoffs, man.
Okay.
I'll have to cut that mic. I'm just
Okay.
kidding.
All right.
All right, y'all. Take care. Thank y'all for joining us today. Limbo, thank you so much for joining us as well. Had a great time as always. Otis, we'll see you in a couple weeks. Take care on that vacation as well.
You bet, man.
All
See
right.
y'all.
Ooh, Pig Suey.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Yep,
care,
anytime.
y'all.
All right, everybody, thank you for joining us today. And this has been the Arkansas Football Report with Otis Kirk and special guest Limbo Parks.